This video is brought to you by CarCostCanada.com. To find the dealer's cost, any reduced interest rates, or rebates, click on the link at any time during the video. So it went like this. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, Zach here. Hi, Zach. This is Porsche Canada calling. Would you like to go to Spain to drive the... Yes, I would. To drive the new 911. Welcome to Valencia, Spain. This is awesome. We're here to drive the all-new Carrera S and 4S. This is the 8th generation 911, and I absolutely adore these cars. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the outside before we go driving, because I have to say this is the best looking water-cooled 911 they've ever come out with. The 996, well, we all know that car had its faults in terms of styling. 997 was a wonderful car. They made the car much bigger for the 991. And now they have the 992, and I think they've absolutely nailed the proportions. And I asked, what are the tricks? How have they made this look sort of so cohesive? And here's the biggest trick, in my opinion. The wheelbase is exactly the same length as the old 991, but they've changed the wheel mix. So now you get a 20-inch wheel at the front, which is 8.5 inches wide. At the back, you get a 21-inch wheel that is 11.5 inches wide. So not only do you get staggered wheels, wider at the back than the front, they're actually bigger wheels. This is done, of course, to make the car look fantastic, but to also give it much more predictable on-road manners. And this is true whether you get the two-wheel drive or the Carrera 4S. Now, all of the new 992s moving forward will have the wide body. So in order to make these proportions look right, they lengthened the overall body by just 20 millimeters. The overhangs are a little bit longer. They actually raised the roof to give you that beautiful fly line down the back. And all of the other small details are absolutely perfect in my opinion. So the nose of the car, the hood is a little bit longer with creases in it, and this is a tip of the hat to the early 70s long nose cars, they called them. Also, the air opening around the front goes all the way from side to side, and you get active aero now, shutters that open and close in the car, and I'll explain a little bit more about that when we take it out onto the wet course. Around the back, the car also looks very, very wide. You've got the light bar that's integrated into all the new Porsches across the back of the car, but they've separated the light bar from the exhaust and the license plate. Very wide opening around the back of the car to make it look anchored and to make it look wider. And the car is wider. So not only did they change the wheels front to back, they also made the track wider. So the wheels are wider at the front by 4.6 centimeters. So not only does it give it this wonderful presence on the road or the real anchored, sleek silhouette, it also made improvements to the way they could plumb in the turbochargers in the back. So that's a quick overview. But what they've done, it's all of these very small details to produce a car that, in my opinion, is the best looking water-cooled 911 to date. So we'll get inside, more changes there. We'll go for a drive. It's going to be an awesome day. So we're here in Spain, lots of German engineers accompanying us, and I asked them, is this car a modified version of the 991, the previous version? Because the wheelbase is the same length, and they said no, it's been heavily modified. It's basically a brand new car, and there's so much technology to talk about with this new, what's called 992. So first, let's start with what makes every Porsche go, and that's the engine. It's still a 3-liter twin turbo, but the turbochargers have been modified. In fact, the whole drive system has been changed, and it now produces 443 horsepower with 390 pound-feet of torque. And the torque and the delivery is just so nice. We're here in the mountains just outside of Valencia, going through the hills, and the grunt from the bottom end is just perfect. And it redlines all the way to 7,500 RPM. So engine is strong, no complaints with that at all. Then the power goes to an 8-speed PDK now. They've added one more gear, a wider range of ratios, better out-of-the-pocket acceleration. You have the adjustable suspension. The dampers now can change up to 100 times per second, which is amazing technology. The steering rack has been improved as well. That's the electromechanical system to give a much more direct steering feel. And driving it through these twisty roads, zero complaints at all. So you really do notice that wider track with a 4 centimeter wider track at the back and over 4 centimeters at the front. It just feels absolutely connected to the road and so sure-footed. So somebody that's buying a car like this certainly has plenty of money. They can drive to work in this car and conduct business calls. You've got the beautiful big 10.9-inch screen that's embedded into the dashboard. We saw it first with Panamera and Cayenne, now in this new 911. And at first you think to yourself, is it going to look like a spaceship, a little bit too futuristic? And not at all. It actually works nicely with the original lines of the older 911s, this very wide and flat dashboard. It's the same here. It's just got a nice big screen integrated. Below that, you see the toggle shifter for the PDK and the glass panels in the center of the console. That's the one area that's going to be a little bit polarizing. It's certainly a dust and fingerprint magnet, but it certainly looks modern. You take the screen away and the glass center console, the rest of the cabin is traditional 911. It's got all of the same kinds of materials, the bucket seats, the little seats in the back for kids. It's pretty much the same except for those main features. You have digital screens on either side of the tachometer in the center. Now we get to drive this car on a wet course for a new mode that's called the wet driving mode. Let's check that out. So standard on the new 911 is what's called wet mode. There are actually sensors in the wheel wells. They're acoustic sensors, and they can tell with the sound the rain makes hitting the inside of the wheel well if there's rain or snow on the ground. And what that does is it activates different things inside the car. So it changes the stability management system, it changes the ABS, the throttle progression, and the transmission to give you more control in the wet. And over 90 kilometers an hour, it will actually change the aerodynamics of the car. It basically opens up the louvers in the front, it actuates the spoiler in the back for maximum downforce, and this gives you much better traction in the wet. So this is really good if you're driving on the highway and it's really raining. It's a system that's going to give you much more security for sure. That's impressive. In addition, if you have an all-wheel drive car, this is a C2, but if you have a C4, it will load up more torque and power to the front wheels to give you better traction. Oh yeah, this is exciting. This is where it all comes together. We're at the racetrack just outside of Valencia in Spain, and you know, driving it on the road, doing the wet circuit, that was a lot of fun. But this is where roughly around 20-25% of Porsche owners take their cars. It's one of the brands that actually has buyers take their car to the track. So when Porsche develops a car like this, it has to be comfortable for everyday use, but you also have to be able to drive it quickly. So I'm going to put it in Sport Plus, and I have in front of me as a lead car is a Carrera GT3 RS. So let's see what we can get up to here. Now I've mentioned all the changes, the bigger tires, the wider track, and the improvements to the engine. So let's see how it all does on the racetrack. This is a beautiful race course. This is a motorcycle track, so it's so smooth. Fantastic, fantastic. Well, the first thing I can tell you is the car just feels so planted on the road. That wider track and those tires make all the difference in the world. This is fun, fun, fun. You know, the one thing about Porsche is they have world-class instructors come to show you around. And I gotta tell you, driving on a racetrack with a pro driver that you just follow is so much easier. Way less understeer. Way less understeer than before. And the power delivery, 7,500 RPM. That is fantastic. Hear that? Lots of fun. Big left-hander, 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 downhill, hard on the brakes, hard on the brakes. Late apex, turning onto the front straight. And away we go, all the way down the front straight. Let's see how fast we go. 226 on that lap. That's pretty quick. 226 kilometers an hour. This car is beautiful, my goodness. Late apex, on the gas, accelerating out, using all the track, dipping in, onto the brakes, turn in, to the right, through the apex, on the gas, short straightaway, late apex, and I think we're doing a slowdown lap. Wow. So, does it all come together? Oh yeah. I'm just amazed with Porsche, you know. They do have this chameleon effect. You drive them every single day, you get a beautiful luxury car with all of the amenities on the inside, wonderful, comfortable seats. You're on the phone, doing a conference call, doing business, and then you take this car to the racetrack, and then you have at it. Here's an interesting statistic. This car can do a run to 60 miles an hour in 3.4 seconds, okay? The 997 Turbo S, the top car of that era, made a run to 60 miles an hour in 3.2 seconds. This is a Carrera S. This isn't the Turbo. This isn't the Turbo S. This is sort of the car that most people are gonna wanna buy. That is incredible. So well done, Porsche. What a day, what a load of fun. What a car. Now I just gotta figure out how to pay for one. So what can you say other than, wow, they did a great job with this car. Just slightly longer, it certainly is wider, great presence on the road, the track really proved that, the power delivery is fantastic, and this is just the beginning of the 992 experience. The Cabriolet's coming next, then we're gonna get the regular Carrera, not the S's that we have here, then you're gonna layer on Turbo and Turbo S. So this is just the beginning of 992. I can't wait to see what they have up their sleeve for the next 5 to 7 years. If you'd like to get the dealer's cost for your next new vehicle, any reduced interest rates or rebates, click on the Car Cost Canada link in the description below.